Well, hi there. Um, I'm on vacation. I want to be all laid back and chill. And I'm going to give this live stream thing a chance to see if there's anybody who wants to talk to me. And I could just meander and talk and talk and talk about my political awakening throughout my life and what made me the weirdo that I am today. And I'm going to sit there and do this over a couple of beers. And we'll have a chat and talk. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer it or discuss any political issue you may care to discuss. And that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do on vacation. I have warned some people online, other places that I will be online live streaming right now at 9:15, and it's 9:16. Um, this shall be fun. I'm planning to do this I'm gonna try to get a personal day off for election day. So planning to vote in the morning, and then gonna probably have a bottle of wine if I'm off that evening to watch the election results. That's my plan. I'm not sure that's gonna happen, but if it happens, I'm kind of gonna do what I'm doing right now, but it will be with a glass of wine instead of a couple of beers. So anyway, um, I'm online, and if you want to talk to me, let's talk. Um, as I said, I'm going to talk about my politics from the 1980s all the way to the year 2020 and beyond. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, but what affects our yesterdays affects our presents, and it will affect our tomorrows. It sounds like something somebody says that like really important, but I might be just bullshitting. What's new, right? Okay, all right. Well, let me tell you about myself. I grew up in northeastern North Carolina during the mid 1980s. I was actually born in Greenville, North Carolina in 1969. And oh, hold on a second. I was asked by somebody here, is the carnation inspired by the Carnation Revolution? Partially, yes. Um, I chose the carnation for a variety of reasons, but yes, the Carnation Revolution is partly why. I'm During the 1990s, I joined the Socialist Party USA, which was a more stable social democratic party, but very tiny with no political influence. And we had the red carnation as our symbol, and it was adopted as the carnation to differentiate that it was further left than standard social democracy. So instead of using the piston rose or the red rose, we use the carnation as our symbol. And later on, I found out that it was inspired by the Carnation Revolution in Portugal in 1974. So so a red rose, a fist holding a rose, and a red carnation are all kind of like three important socialistic symbols to me. And yep, you could say it's inspired. It's inspired by the SPUSA through the Carnation Revolution. They were inspired to make it their symbol, and I had an admiration for the Carnation Revolution myself. So there you have it. I hope I answered that question. All right, cheers. Mm. But anyway, yeah. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I should have brought me. Well, that's okay. I can wipe that down later on. Yeah, 1970, the 19. Ugh, I grew up in. Oh gosh. Okay. You're welcome. Well, as I said, I grew up in northeastern North Carolina during the 80s, and we, my, my dad's American, my mother's Puerto Rican. Um, lived in lived born in Greenville, moved to Puerto Rico for about 2 years. So, born in Greenville in 1969 while my dad was getting his master's. We moved to Puerto Rico for 1970 72, then moved back to the States and lived in northeastern North Carolina in Hertford County, Hosky. Um, Worst town in the world. Not saying everybody's bad, but I would never recommend that area. Personal experience. It wasn't particularly pleasant for mom and dad. It wasn't pleasant for me. We were just outsiders. Um, I so yeah, like it was kind of, I would say that for the three of us, it was extremely awkward living there from 1972 to the mid 1980s. For a variety of reasons. We're just outsiders, odd people to the community. Um, 19 Mid 1980s, 1984 to 88 were my high school years, and I remember my freshman year was the 1984 election, and I was the odd white kid because everybody else would refer Reagan and Bush. Then I stood against the grain. I mean, dad is a uh, Republican, mother Democrat, and my grandmother on my dad's side were she was a Reagan Democrat, basically. If I wanted to find Democrats in the family, I had to go to Puerto Rico or go to the Northeast where my family were at. But here in North Carolina, most of my dad's family pretty much solidly Republican. Mm. And that's like in the central part of the state where I live currently. I live in Johnston County. Um, anyway, 1984. There was all this talk about America rejuvenating itself. America was rejuvenating itself when it was uh, returning back to its greatness and all of that, and I just didn't quite see it that way. Um, yeah, I just didn't quite see it that way, and just I mean, we were doing okay. I mean, we were doing fine, but I mean, rural Eastern North Carolina is a highly impoverished area, in my opinion. I just honestly don't see how people really made it there while I was growing up. But suffice to say, um, they talked about America being restored to its greatness during the Reagan years, and I frankly, didn't see that. I remember my civics class in 1984 being, being looked upon like a weirdo when I said, "Yeah, I'm for Walter Mondale and Geraldine Ferraro." I mean, and back then I was a little more naive. I thought Democrats good, Republicans bad, and I didn't even have the firm, um, what it meant to be. I mean, I guess I might have known what it meant to be a liberal, but I just assumed that basically all Democrats were kind of equally liberal. And and I did have I did have a I did have the concept of what it meant to be a socialist, but I just like I know in Europe they were socialists on the center left. I did have that grasp, um, partly because my dad kind of was, he kind of kept up with events and in a way that I kind of learned some things from him, in spite of his, being the very Goldwater Ronald Reagan Republican. Um, During the 1980s. So yeah, I remember he was telling me that there was a difference between socialism and communism, and he supported neither particular ideology, but he knew there was a difference, and he says, well, the socialists are basically the nicer version of that movement. They do adhere to some form of democracy in a way that the communists don't, and it's still not an economic system that he would advocate. But you know, he doesn't think that they're particularly evil, but he thought that they were wrong. And that's he was always intellectually honest about this, and so he's telling me we're socialism has been tried in pretty much in the Western Europe, in Great Britain, things like that. He and other industrialized countries, and he says there's still free market system in those countries, but they have things like a more generous welfare state than the United States, and stronger labor unions, and they have free medical care sponsored by the government for the entire population. Um, and I kind of roughly agree with that, but I was thinking in terms of as American centric terms. So the thing about it is, and right there and then in '84, I just thought it'd be a good idea if Walter Mondale becomes the president, because I don't like the Reagan economic model too much. So there was that. As the decade continued, and even prior to 1984, I developed a love for all things British, became an Anglophile. Mm. And a little caveat to that was during the summer of 1981, I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I was a loner. I was, so while the other kids were hanging out doing their normal kid things, I was a loner, and so I just started, watching TV, and I wasn't even really into what other kids were into. I weren't trying to watch, whatever was trendy among young kids at the time or what have you. But I stumbled across British television. I stumbled across British television on public broadcasting system, PBS, and I was like, wow, it was that world was just so intriguing. It was 1981, and I was watching all this from a half a decade previous and even further back, like mid to late 60s, all the way up to mostly the mid 70s. So it was fascinating watching all of this, and I developed a strong love for everything British. I mean, and to this day, I've always joked that I felt like I was born in the wrong country. I was meant to be born in the UK. I really feel like I was meant to be born in the UK. Nothing against my parents saying this. I mean, I love them dearly. I wish they would have been my parents but in England, being the same person that they were, are today and everything. But I digress. Um, I developed a love for all things British. Started listening to a lot of music and a lot of television programs, a lot of movies. Became a Doctor Who fan very, very early on when nobody was interested in it, and people thought I was weird in middle school. But anyhow, as the high school years went on by, and I started to get familiar with TV programs like The Young Ones, and it went from being with programs like The Young Ones, it went to oh well, I was watching programs like 120 Minutes on MTV. Remember when they actually played videos on MTV once upon a time? Yeah, I know that seems like a long time ago. And I was remembering entertainers like Billy Bragg being being on 120 Minutes, and so it's like, well, the politics, I was starting to get awakened a little bit. I guess I wasn't quite ready to call myself a socialist quite yet, but I mean, I was warming up to the idea, and I kept up news over there in the UK, and I knew that the coal miners were the good guys trying to protect their jobs, and I knew that Margaret Thatcher was bad news as far as what she was doing in the end, because I knew about Britain's welfare state and the state-owned industries and how it protected people's jobs, and they had all kinds of aspects to their economy that it actually made sense to me. I mean, but I just could not quite put it into American terms quite yet. I just thought, well, that's really nice that they have that stuff over here. And I thought, hey, it'd be nice if we can have that here, but I didn't obsess over it the way I would later on. So, yeah, suffice to say, that was part of my awakening about stuff, and then this whole thing about Central America and what was going on, and when the Iran Contra scandal broke out in 1986. I mean, on a very partisan level, even though I was too young to vote, I was just thinking, aha, that's going to bring the Reagan administration down. This is Watergate 2. We get rid of Reagan and prevent Bush Senior from becoming president in the year 1988. Um, Democrats ought to be able to get back in power and not suffer from the landslide they suffered in 1984. Mm. And I did my research on Contra on the Contras in Nicaragua, the Contras and the Sandinista movement in Nicaragua. I did my research, and for what I can tell you, what I can tell you, I spilled some beer. I am so sorry, and I just can't deal with that. Let me take care of that right now. That's going to be sticky if I'm not careful. I don't know why it's pissing like that. Um, Let me continue. And I knew that maybe the Sandinistas were not 100% the good guys, but I certainly didn't think the Contras were. And the same thing in El Salvador was going on with the death squads by the government against the indigenous people, against the Catholic clergy, against trade unionists and that sort of thing that was going on. And I mean, whenever I bring it up, I mean, I would be smeared as a communist for bringing that up. And just like I'm like, I'm not a communist. I don't want what they have in the Soviet Union, but I want justice for these people, and I don't want them to build a Soviet-style economy and society. But I want them to build something like they have in Europe. If they can build something like that, and much the better. Um, anyway, so I got very interested in Central American politics, and I remember during the 1988 campaign how George Bush Sr. was obsessed with aiding the Contras, aiding the Contras. Seems like I could not convince anybody. There was a bunch of people like, yeah, we need to go down into Central America, and I just thinking, no, you don't. No, you don't. Also during that time, I just when it came to the idea of the Christian right, the Jerry Falwells, the Pat Robertsons, the TV evangelists with their politics, and I just thought, my God, these are very mean, intolerant people wanting to censor music, books, magazines, and they seem to want to be pushing their religious beliefs on after everybody else, and it may have looked naive to say that at the time, but looking back, that's exactly what they were trying to do. And I was glad that there were organizations I found out about during the 1988 campaign by George Bush Sr. I did not know what the hell the American Civil Liberties Union were. And when he started accusing Michael Dukakis of being a member of the ACLU, I went and did research and found out what the ACLU were. And I was like, I see nothing wrong with this group, the ACLU. They seem very fine to me. I like free speech and I like getting rid of the death penalty. And yeah, during the 1980s, even though it was the sign of the times, homophobia was rampant, and then even many liberals were. And as a young little snotty kid, I even had homophobia back then that I know better now. But when I found out how the ACLU supported gay lesbian rights and why they supported, and it went from being still having mildly homophobic viewpoints back then, but being for what is right, and that meant civil liberties for everybody, including people. So it was just kind of like, well, but if people want to, those want to do that behind closed door. Well, I don't care. It was that kind of awkwardness around 1987, 88, 80, 89. Um, it was kind of like that, and then just as I grown older, and I took a few years off after high school, worked, what have you, and as I've gotten more enlightened, I started doing my reading and everything, and I started to become further left in my worldview, and became pretty much woke for that time period. I was even though it was for free speech and all of that, I was your prototype woke SJW of that time period, but more in the late '80s, early '90s environment. And so it was preachy about censorship, being anti-censorship, being for separation of church and state, keeping society secular, being environmentally aware. I mean, I was recycling cans and that sort of thing, and kind of doing that wearing it as a badge of honor. Virtue signaling, proto virtue signaling at that time. And that's what it was. Anyhow, 1990 happened, and I was saddened, but I became very happy at the same time on election day 1990. I was saddened that North Carolina were not able to learn the lessons of the past. And that was the fact that they reelected Jesse Helms to the U.S. Senate. If you don't know who Jesse Helms was, if you're much younger than myself, he was one of the worst people around, one of the most racist, bigoted people in modern times. And I mean, like, open bigoted. No dog whistles. Old segregationist. He did start out as a Democrat. Then he became a Republican during the time of what was called the Southern Strategy, and he was like the one of the worst segregationists you can imagine at that time. Homophobic to the core. He was a big time anti-gay politician and did everything he could to demonize and to scapegoat the LGBTQ community. And Jesse Helms doing that also helped me to open my mind and to do what it was right, and that was to be for LGBTQ community equality. So I started to have my mind open during that time. But Jesse Helms being reelected was a letdown. And then I was happy that in the state of Minnesota, um, Paul Wellstone got elected to the Senate. And I found out how wonderful he was and how people were calling him a socialist and how he wants to do things like they do it in Europe. And I was like, ooh, that was the beginning right there. It's like, oh my God, why don't more Democrats sound like this? This is the kind of person I'd like to see more of. And then all of a sudden, 1990, in the district at large in the state of Vermont, Bernard Sanders, was elected. And he became known as the first independent since the 1950s and the first socialist since the 1920s to be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. And I was just thinking, wow, this is awesome. And so I started to study on Bernie Sanders, and that was actually the very beginning of my journey as a socialist. And I was just like, I'm just thinking to myself, wow, somebody broke through the two-party system. How interesting! They call themselves a socialist, and they're advocating all the neat stuff that goes on in the Nordic countries and in France and places like that. Hey, I hope this guy goes a long way. So there you have it. And just getting my foothold ready for the politics and all that. Well. When I arrived on the East Carolina campus in the early '90s, right there, looking for the campus liberalism. I was like, don't really find much liberalism back home. Surely on a college campus, they will be very, very open minded and all that. You had a lot of apolitical people that didn't give a shit about politics, and then you had a lot of kind of loud right wingers. And in hindsight, the few liberals I found were not all that liberal; they were just bland centrists. Um, and that's what passed for liberalism or the left back then. the College Democrats I joined in 1992. Interesting little side note about it. Um, Unfortunately, a kind of well-known alt-right asshole started off in the College Democrats at ECU, but he wasn't alt-right or an asshole at that time. Well, he might have been an asshole, but he was not alt-right. He was actually somewhat progressive leaning, and that was William Geen, or Bill Geen. He was known at the time. And as I said, he was not this paranoid right wing lunatic who was obsessed about the country being taken over by brown people. In fact, he seemed genuinely anti-racist at that time, and he was kind of in conspiracy theories, but it was like a conspiracy theory that was more geared toward the left. And it's just like, wow, somebody I could talk about Chomsky with, and all of that and everything. And he was and he kind of presented himself to be real cool because he had a band, and it was kind of like it was kind of a hangover of the 1980s, and he was still doing what sounded like new wave music at the time. He was in a group called Shadowbox, and so I eventually became good friends with him for a number of years. But as the years went on, he turned out to be an asshole. Mm. Having all that said, while I don't respect him today in the year 2020 because of how he evolved politically, I won't take away his musical abilities. On a musical level, I will respect him. I can't take that away from him. Just how it is. And I remember he used to host these parties in Greenville all the time, and one of our mutual friends, we were talking politics one night, and because you know uh, he, myself, and a number of other people were in the early and mid 1990s that were still cultural hangovers from the 1980s. We couldn't quite let it go. And so, during this age, grunge music and all that, we were still, we were still had that kind of underground musical Rubik's Cube sort of world, thinking about movies like Valley Girl and TV shows like Square Pegs and things like that. So yeah, I mean, we were still listening to groups like Echo and the Bunnymen, and the psychedelic furs, early YouTube, modern English, Joy Division, New Order, uh, and Simple Minds. Well, for me, the Smiths, Morrissey, but for this guy, he hated Morrissey and the Smiths. But nobody's perfect, right? But one of our mutual friends asked me, he's like, "Hey, as left wing as you are, it's amazing that you have a nostalgia for a decade that was dominated politically by Reagan and Thatcher." And I was like, it is kind of funny, isn't it? And that is very ironic, ain't it? But I can't help it because that's when I was waking up with things going on. So yeah, it was kind, it was kind of a dark time politically, but I do think in a weird way it made me a better person and helped me evolve into the kind of person that I am today, for better or for worse. Um, but I will go on how the decade evolved and all of that. Um, well, there's yeah, as I said, you know, being in the college Democrats was, I mean, I did campaign work for Bill Clinton and Al Gore, and sorry, I did, uh, you know, uh, turned out to be a disappointment. Uh, It was a continuation of the Reagan Bush years. That was my awakening right there that electing Democrats don't quite cut it. So when I tell progressives today, hey, when you go and you vote for these people, they're going to promise you the moon and the sky, and they're not going to give it to you. Um, Bill Clinton, he promised that, I mean, I guess he promised he wasn't going to be Reagan and Bush looking back at it, but he ended up being Reagan and Bush. So, the healthcare plan that Hillary Clinton created was horrible. Kept the insurance companies in there, and I was just like, no, 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 no. And by 1994, taking some classes, European political systems classes like history of modern Britain since 1603, I learned some things about the world, and I was just like, maybe my friends were right. Maybe I am a socialist. And when the Republicans took over Congress in 1994, and the college Democrats told me one day, it's like, look, we're not FDR New Deal liberals anymore. We're New Democrats. We're This is the age of Bill Clinton. You got to get over this age of FDR and Lyndon Johnson and George McGovern. This is the age of Bill Clinton. I don't want to be part of the age of Bill Clinton. I want a throwback to a previous liberalism. And I have been told by some people that I was 30, 40 years politically behind the times. And in some ways, I guess I was, so I ended up becoming a socialist. I joined the Socialist Party USA, was a member of the SPUSA for roughly a decade. I did campaign work for Mary Hollis in 1996, who was the candidate for president for the Socialist Party. Wasn't able to get her on the ballot because I was kind of too late when I was trying to acquire the signatures. So I was able to vote for Ralph Nader that year. Felt mighty good to do that because at least, we're Ralph Nader, roughly ballpark wise, same ideas that he wants implemented. And I guess in 2000, did campaign work for David McReynolds. Got him on the ballot, the late David McReynolds, and he, and later on got Walter Brown on the ballot in the year 2004. And so I, did work for the Socialist Party USA. I joined the Young People's Socialist League in the mid 1990s, and I helped build the Socialist Party of North Carolina and a nice little state organization here. 50 members doesn't really sound like a lot in the grand scheme of things, but considering that we had about 5 people scattered across the state in 1996 and around 2003, we had about 50 members. And we were doing projects and we were getting notice around, and we have people who were fellow travelers too. And so we were making a name for ourselves. And I ended up in the leadership of the party. I was in the I was an alternate on the national committee. Mm. I did. I assisted in the national publication, The Socialists. You can almost say a contributing editor of sorts. Um, so I mean, it was a interesting time period, but we had a civil war going on inside the party between the ultra left sectarians that kind of crept in there, and they kind of pushed a lot of social democrats like myself out of the party. So I left around late 2005, but kind of remained like an independent socialist for many years. Um, and just and I felt like, well, all this infighting. We got George W. Bush, he's president. I think it's probably a hell of a lot more important to fight against Bush and Cheney than to fight Trotskyites within the Socialist Party USA. So I left the Socialist Party USA, and at that time it was under very bitter circumstances. I was very angry for what went on in there, and some of the people that I was antagonistic toward, they were antagonistic toward me. Kind of later on, we kind of made up, and water under the bridge, and I don't look at some of these people with the disdain that I did at the time and everything. And I was going through my own personal emotional shit and everything. I had some in the 1990s and the early 2000s, I was going through a really bitter, bitter situation with regard to romance. I had somebody that kind of broke my heart, and it was kind of hard to get over. And somebody came along to kind of, sort of replace her, and anyway, just that's kind of personal, and I don't want to. I just don't want to get into details about that, but uh, it just made me very. I was kind of bitter toward the world. Had a lot of. I was very negative, in spite of embracing very good values and wanting what's best for everybody. Um, Suffice to say, um, Bush, the worst president we ever had, was gone. And while I did not vote for Obama in 2008 or nor 2012 because I didn't think he was sufficiently progressive, I voted third party. So I normally do. I had some mild hopes that he might try to do what's right. Not only did he not do what I thought he was going to do, which was very tepid, he did it significantly less, and seems like he actually shifted to the right in the way that Bill Clinton shifted further to the right while he was president. I was like, not this shit again. So anyway, just yeah, I became very, very angry toward politics a whole lot over the years, and until Bernie Sanders came along in 2016, and I was like, yeah, there's a reason to be optimistic again when it comes to politics. Mm. So anyhow, that's what happened to me in a nutshell. Um, so hold on one second, I got to type something here. I apologize. I apologize for this. And invite somebody to go online on YouTube. So I might actually do that a little bit to a few people, if So hopefully they'll get my message right now. Um, Hold on one second. I'm going to do that to somebody else. Uh, okay, I'm inviting some people up there, so hopefully they'll hear me, or they'll get my message and contact me. So that's what I'm doing. So just as I said, because I'm kind of trialing this out for the future. So just to see how people will handle this. Because I'm going to be doing a whole lot of this on election night. If I'm off on election night, which I think I will be off on election night. So, but suffice to say, I will continue. Well, I went and became very angry again. Bernie Sanders had his nomination stolen. And a lot of people got pissed off with me for voting for Joe Stein. And they sat there and blamed the left for the election of Donald Trump. I don't understand how people act this way. How people, the very left that wants to improve life, improve the economy for the people, improve life for the people, to work on health care for all, and to make sure that whatever job you have, whether you're cleaning toilets, or you're even some heartless CEO somewhere that makes billions, that everybody, whether you're shoving crap out of a toilet, or you're a CEO of a large corporation, equally have access to medical care for everybody, for every single person. Oh, yep. One of my friends just caught me online. Hey, what's up? How are you doing? I'm having some beer as well. Cheers, cheers, my friend. Mm. But anyway, as I was saying, I was very upset because I was explained. As I said, I mean, I had people that cussed me out online and said, fuck you. You're the reason why you're the reason why Donald Trump got elected because you're pride. You supported Bernie and then you supported Jill Stein. And they made a victim out of Hillary Clinton. A woman that's worth $250 million is not a victim. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're LBGTQ. I don't care if you're black, brown, green, polka dot. I don't care if you're Jewish, Muslim, or worship the spaghetti pasta monster or what have you. If you are worth over $100 million, you're not a victim, not one bit. And they made her out to be a victim. And Bernie Sanders was made to look like some kind of a son of a bitch and everything. And it just upset me in the late 2016 going through that crap. Well, around 2020, it was a little more sobering as Bernie Sanders ran against 19 other candidates and everything. It was kind of an advantage being so many people in there, but it was also an extreme bloodbath too that was taking place, and it was kind of a juxtaposition because they hated Bernie, but they were adopting a lot of Bernie's ideas or trying to. But when asked detail wise about it, they couldn't really get themselves to support those basic progressive positions. Some people came close, and when I mean close, they were close with some sincerity, and it was just kind of like Bernie Sanders was the one that was really making these cogent arguments and all that. And yeah, then Beto O'Rourke. I mean, he was when he was running against Ted Cruz in 2018. I couldn't believe that he was a rock star in my eyes for 5 minutes. Just like wow, he's going to defeat Ted Cruz, and I was so looking forward to that. And yet, it did not happen. I mean, that Ted Cruz. I'm like he kind of did what Jesse Helms did in North Carolina all these years, barely squeaked by. And I'm worried that that's going to be the case with Ted Cruz. I mean, he's kind of like Jesse Helms, not likable. I'll say maybe the difference between Ted Cruz and Jesse Helms is that Ted Cruz is Hispanic. I mean, he's Hispanic the way I'm Hispanic. I mean, I'm half Puerto Rican, he's half Cuban. I mean, we're both still, white dudes. But the point is that you know he's basically. I would say that maybe Ted Cruz, if he's a bigot, he's probably his bigotry is not as toxic as the late Jesse Helms. And, just I mean, I guess, but I was looking forward to seeing him being defeated, but yet it did not happen that way. It certainly did not happen. Damn it! What can I say? Damn it! Damn it! But I don't know. I'm just I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sorry about that. I'm letting the beer settle in. There we go. But let me get back to what I was saying. Beto O'Rourke was a rock star for 5 minutes, but then he lost to Ted Cruz and decided he was going to run for president anyway. That gets on my nerves because that's exactly what Republicans love. They love to see a Democrat running for an office right away so they can say, you see, they just want to get elected, as if Republicans don't want to get elected. I mean, Ted Cruz got elected in 2014, and he ran for president right away too. But I guess there's always you know, do as I say, not as I do attitude. I've noticed that from a lot of Republican Party hacks. So anyway, Beto O'Rourke, not impressive. Julio Castro didn't really say much. Um, uh, I don't know. I'm just trying to think some of these other candidates. John Delaney, really? I mean, he makes Joe Biden look like AOC by comparison. Isn't that something? And having here, what's her name? Amy Klobuchar. Terrible, terrible, terrible. How they could give her the time of day was beyond me. And Kamala Harris was chased out of the primaries by Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard, I defend a whole lot because I don't like how she's attacked all the time. They make Tulsi Gabbard out like she is some kind of stealth right wing person. It's almost as if they're trying to chase her into the Republican Party. And to me, you know, you're trying to make her look like Michelle Bachmann, or I mean, and Democrats. I wonder why the Democrats do that because I mean, you know, to me, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a bigger problem to the Democrats than Tulsi Gabbard could ever be. Do they do anything to Debbie Wasserman Schultz? No, no. I was not at all. I mean, uh, she's probably about the only person I could vote Republican for that just to spite her. Because I think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the worst Democrat in Congress right now. I despise Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I despise that woman. What she did in the 2016 campaign, and and what she did in 2018 against Tim Canova, and in the recent primaries, wait, what's that lady's name? She is actually pretty damn impressive. Gosh, she is very impressive. The politician from Florida that is it Jean Perlman? Is it Jane Perlman? Let's see. I think it's Jane Perlman, right? It's she's I don't know her name at the moment. Perlman is her name. That's what I know. And she was interviewed on the Tim Black show, and I was pretty impressed what I've heard by her and everything. So I'm just kind of like, I was like, and the Democrats in that congressional district still chose Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I mean, she's awful, awful, awful. Um, I can't I can't stress how awful she is. She just bloody awful, horrible, terrible. I'm trying to think what her name is. Hold on, I'll find out. I will find out. I will find out at some point. All of y'all, please forgive me. Um, I'm online and I'm doing this because I'm just wanting to have some fun. So, hold on a second. Okay, let's see. All right, she'll be listed over here. Oh, she's not listed over here either. Huh. Oh, wait a minute. I might be able to find her. Hold on. I'm trying to think of her name. What is her name? As I said, I apologize for doing this. It bothers me that I can't find her over here. She was campaigning against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and that's why I definitely want to find her because I want to see what her name is. Okay. Jennifer Perlman. That is her name. I am so sorry about that. Oh, hi Daryl. Hi Dwight. Talk to me if y'all want. Cheers to you all. Dwight. I've been almost an hour talking randomly. Dwight, I want you to say hi to Daryl Hilton. He's a cool social democrat too. I wish y'all can become Facebook friends. Um, he's a good guy. I promise you that. But anyway, let me get back to it. What I was saying, I felt pretty damn cheated. Having Bernie Sanders twice taken away, and and anyway, thanks, Daryl. Well, if Howie Hawkins is on the ballot in Ohio, I would vote for him. I mean, I think that North Carolina will probably, just be dumbasses and vote for Donald Trump. This is a red state through and through. I'm seeing too many Trump signs everywhere, and I urge people in swing states to go ahead and vote for Biden. And I was going to vote for Biden, but I can't go and feel dirty doing this. I'm going to have to vote for Howie Hawkins. And because I mean Howie Hawkins he's the social democrat, even though he probably wouldn't call himself that. Probably wouldn't call himself that at all. Um, I'm sorry, guys. There we go. I'm trying to invite some people up here so we can all have a conversation. And oh yeah, Dwight, I'm gonna let you know that I was what I'm planning to do on election night. I'm gonna try to be in front of the TV with the computer like I am now, so I can discuss this with everybody and do some back and forth politics and all of that. And I'll have a bottle of wine, and I'll get drunk either for the better or for worse or whatever. However the outcome is, I'll drink to whatever occasion comes up. Let's see, what do we got here? Montana's a possible swing state these days. It showed up in the New York Times. Well, Montana's a different state from North Carolina. I mean, I wouldn't blame you for voting for Biden and all of that. So I mean, I kind of think that Biden's going to win the election because I mean, Donald Trump is a dumbass. He's walking around without a mask, and I'm gonna tell y'all, um, Daryl, I want Bernie Sanders to run in 2024. If Bernie Sanders can't run, I want Nina Turner to run, or I would love to see. Well, I'm trying to think, Nina Turner or Jesse Ventura. That's what I will. That's ideally what I like to see. Oh, that would be an awesome ticket. Nina Turner and Jesse Ventura. Wow, that would be awesome. Would like that. But Donald Trump is toast. I mean, he's toast because in 2016 he was an unconventional Republican. I mean, he didn't entirely run totally right wing. There was some populist themes that he advocated, and for that, he he was able to win over people that would not normally vote for Republicans, like in those swing states in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. They were going through a rough time, and they didn't see any promise from the Democrats, so they settled for demagoguery. It just what happened, and very unfortunate. And Hillary Clinton would not come into those states. She felt like she was too good to come into those states, and they wouldn't even allow her husband, Bill Clinton. Even though Bill Clinton pushed for with NAFTA, they wouldn't even let him into those states because they still love Bill Clinton. I mean, just there was always certain parts of the country during the Clinton years. You say that you like Bill Clinton in North Carolina, and they will throw rotten tomatoes at you. You would say I like Bill Clinton in I don't know Vermont, even or someplace like that. They will applaud you. I mean, that's kind of thing that's the kind of political culture that we have right now in the United States. So yeah, just it's just interesting what happens. But anyway, yeah, eh, eh, um, I'm just really I'm a political junkie and I love talking politics. And I want this buzz to settle in. It's not settling in yet. Of course, I'm just going over beer number one. Mm, yeah. Dwight, wasn't that the good old days at the Socialist Party picnic in Raleigh? I mean, everybody was just having a good old time. Just it was like in the fall, so I remember. I remember it was almost like Thanksgiving. It was around 2002, 2002, November 2002, something like that. October, November. Anyway, close enough. It was that was a good old time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was in my early 30s, believe it or not. I mean, that was considered, I thought I was an old man back then, but apparently, I was a young pup. Just the only good thing about it is I have more hair now at the age of 51 than I did when I was 33. Rogaine, man, Rogaine, it works. Mm, yeah. Hold on a second. I got to get another beer. Mm. Gentlemen, this is fun. Let's see. Treat it as an old man. SPUSA convention. Yeah, Daryl, I totally agree. That's another reason I'm planning to vote for Howie Hawkins. I mean, I want to be wrong when my progressive friends tell me, "Oh, Biden's going to do all these neat things, and he's going to be the second FDR," and I just don't see it. I mean, he hugs and embraces never Trumper Republicans, and then make comments like, "Hey, I defeated the socialists," like Bernie Sanders and his supporters are nothing. And if Biden wins, it's because the relative hard left, everybody ranging from Bob Avakian, who is a scary, scary left, but still he's for Biden, all the way to Angela Davis, all the way to AOC, all the way to Noam Chomsky, Bernie Sanders, all the way, well, he's thrown us under the bus, and I just don't see how Biden wins and we're just going to really show ourselves up and be obnoxious and demand these things. And he's going to say, okay, guys, you win, you win, you win. I want to be wrong. When I've seen too many Democratic presidents fail the people. Now, Jimmy Carter, I think that Jimmy Carter tried. I actually think Jimmy Carter tried. I mean, he was on record as supporting national health insurance, which we call Medicare for all or single payer today. And I think he meant it. But I don't particularly think that Joe Biden meant it, because I mean Joe Biden's record is pretty right wing. Uh, yeah, NAFTA and the crime bill, just even on a personal level, hanging out with Jesse Helms. It's kind of hard to forgive when it comes to Joe Biden. The only thing about Joe Biden is his demeanor is more likable than Hillary Clinton. I mean, I've grown to despise that woman, and just and people seem to dismiss me when I say Democratic Leadership Council, DLC, or they don't know what the hell I'm talking about, or and if they do, they're dismissive of it. But I just think about what the DLC has done over the years. It's a lot of damage. And when Bernie Sanders came along, he pretty much was trying to say, we're going to put a stop to this Democratic Leadership Council bullshit. And that's what he was trying to do. And I know the DLC is gone and it's now part of the Clinton Foundation or absorbed into the Clinton Foundation, but the damage is done, and they have all the people there, and they're the ones that did things like rigged against Bernie Sanders and some of the other progressives that were in the primaries. Yeah, I felt like the Democratic Leadership Council Reaganized the Democratic Party. You think about the Koch brothers having a hand at the Democratic Leadership Council. I mean, that's that sort of thing. I think that what they did to the Democratic Party was far worse than what the Blairites did to the British Labour Party. And what Blair and company did in Labour was pretty damn bad. But I always knew that there would be a comeback for Labor in ways that I just don't see it with the Democrats. I mean, so even during the darkest days of Tony Blair, it would have been a hell of a lot easier being in Labor than to be with the Democrats here. Yeah, well, that's true too. It's just what makes Blair unforgivable is his partnership with George W. Bush, and he did continue some of the privatization too within the economy. It was a softer version of Thatcherism in some ways, but the welfare state was intact. But suffice to say, as bad as Margaret Thatcher was, I mean, there was still an existing NHS that she didn't dismantle for either being scared to because she knew it would be political suicide, or she probably the Overton window was such in the UK, slightly further left, that she had enough common sense to know that privatizing or Americanizing the NHS would be the ultimate nightmare for Great Britain. Um, well, that's it's all true. Oh, Daryl, I know what you mean. In 1989, 1990, I just thought that the United States would be better as long as we elect as many Democrats as possible. And just over the years, the Democratic Party, I just developed an extreme love hate relationship with the Democratic Party. When people like Paul Wellstone's around, I'm like, Democrats, yay! But then the Joe Liebermans come around, and it just puts a damper on things. Mm, an extreme damper on things, and it's really sad that's what's happened. But anyway, just doing this sort of thing. But I am glad I'm having this conversation. It's kind of fun to do this live stream. I think I'm going to do a couple of times here on this channel. And Daryl, Dwight, I do appreciate, and anybody else that's listening, I do appreciate. I think it's starting to kick in now. I do appreciate the subscriptions. I'm trying to make this channel, legit. I'm trying to make this channel legit and get people started. Dwight, you really, really need a YouTube channel. You're a minister, so you face the public all the time, every Sunday, and I think you got great delivery, and I think that you can you would present you can make a case for social democracy so well to the American people. There's nothing wrong with your voice, Dwight. Nothing wrong with your voice. You got great delivery. Mm, You got great delivery. I don't say that. I think that I think you're. I mean, you would be a great um, public face. You could be the AJ Musty of today. Wouldn't you like to be the AJ Musty of today? I think you should. But anyway, that's just what I'm thinking right now. Guinness. I'm drinking Guinness right now. Is doing online sermons, but definitely prepare text is best. Okay. I'm drinking Guinness. Daryl, I'm drinking Guinness. In fact, when I was in Ireland last October, that's all I drank the entire week. I drank some liquor too, Jameson and things like that. The Guinness here from the United States is not as good as the one in Ireland. I mean, Ireland, it's not as bitter. It goes down smoother. I mean, and I like Guinness here, but Guinness and over there is a hell of a lot better. Really smooth, and I mean, you could almost drink it like a soda pop. Mm. Really good stuff. Dwight, I want to congratulate you um, for all you have done all these years. You've done a lot of good work, and you were always one of my favorite people in the Socialist Party USA. When I look back at my memories at the Socialist Party USA, I look back fondly, and just like I mean, like Dwight was one of the best people in the SPUSA. Um, and always enjoyed the being being comrades in our faction fights against some of the crazies at that time who are were by some of those crazies that we fought back then are not as crazy today. I think that they don't have a problem with us and we don't have a problem with them. Daryl, Dwight, do you know that there's actually a communist running for the at-large congressional seat in Vermont? And I cannot think of the name of the gentleman. I heard it today on one of my programs on YouTube, and that was just interesting. Yeah, the fist and rose tendency. Catherine Ann McCloskey and I talk about that too occasionally. We talk by phone, seemingly like every other week, kind of more or less like every week, every other week or something. Ah, yeah, Peter Diamond Stone. Strangely enough, I'm not as mad at Peter Diamond Stone as I used to be. Bernie Sanders. I'm trying to think of the preacher, the black preacher that spoke on behalf of Bernie Sanders. You don't mean Jesse Jackson, do you, Daryl? You mean Jesse Jackson? Because I know Jesse Jackson endorsed Bernie Sanders in the primaries, and just it was great seeing that. I mean, I think it was a favor from back then when Jesse Jackson met Bernie Sanders back in the 1980s. And Bernie Sanders, while still an independent, was tinkering with the idea of going into the Democratic Party a little bit. And I think that Jesse Jackson was like the first of that around 19, I guess it was for the 88 campaign because I saw him. I think it was like as far back in video as far back as 1986 talking to Jesse Jackson. Hmm. I was watching a video documentary on Baird Rustin, Dwight, and that was really interesting. And just no, it was a different guy. Huh, I don't know. I don't know. Don't know who could be. If it wasn't Jesse Jackson, I'm gonna have to try to find that out later on. Interesting. Hmm. This beer is kicking in good. Let's see, that person 94. Kingdom Missoula, Montana to help union organizing. I haven't met Jesse Jackson in person yet. I have not. I'm hoping one day that will happen. I mean, I always enjoy listening to Jesse Jackson speak. My only mistake in the 1988 primaries was that I didn't support Jesse Jackson, or I mean, it was like he was kind of there. I kind of liked it, what he had to say, but for some reason I mean the Michael Dukakis was like my candidate back then for whatever reason. I guess he was from Massachusetts. I was thinking, oh, the new John F. Kennedy without really looking behind the details. Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, Daryl, was his name William Barber? William Barber is from North Carolina. Let's see. Yeah, William Barber's from North Carolina. I met him a few times. He wouldn't remember me, but I met him a few times, and I see him speak occasionally. So he is a good man and all of that. And I wasn't sure if he backed Bernie Sanders, but it would stand to reason that he would support Bernie Sanders for president. Wasn't Gore? It was Bruce Babbitt deficits. Oh gosh, Bruce Babbitt. I remember Bruce Babbitt. Yep. I didn't know much about Bruce Babbitt. I know. I think he was from Arizona. That's all I knew. Was he with the DLC? If he was, uh, the hell with him. Tell people don't get me started on the DLC. Mm, do not get me started on the DLC. The people that Reaganized the Democratic Party. Let's see. Clinton. It figures. It figures. I did meet Bill Clinton in 1992. Can't say I'm proud of it in the year 2020, but yeah, I met Bill Clinton in 1992. At the, gosh, it was in Kinston, and I forgot the name of the stadium. But I met Bill Clinton. Talked to him briefly. I met Al Gore. I met Al Gore. He spoke at the East Carolina campus, and I shook Al Gore's hand. I told him, I want you to humiliate Dan Quayle on when you debate him. I did remember telling Al Gore that, but I kind of still mean that almost 28 years later. I still mean that. Because I don't like Dan Quayle at all. Still don't like Dan Quayle. Thought he was an arrogant little prick in 1988, and he couldn't be humbled enough, as far as I was concerned, during his 4 years as vice president. Yeah, that's mm, beer. You know what would go so well with beer? And I just ate supper a little while ago. A nice New York strip steak. But I'm not hungry for a New York strip steak. But it would taste very good right now with this Guinness. Uh, I let's see. I got another bottle here. If I keep this conversation up, I'm going to have to downgrade to a Michelob Ultralight because that's what I got. Other than the Guinness right now, everything gets closed early because of COVID these days. It's just how it is. Just how it is. Oh, Dwight, a very happy birthday to Jim a few days ago. I did wish him happy birthday on Facebook, but just tell him that I said it from here. Happy birthday to Jim. May he have many more. All right. Um. Yep. William Barber. Yep. Reverend William Barber. That's right. And the right wing really hates him down here in North Carolina. I mean, you ought to hear them and everything. They're really hating on him, and just but he leads righteous fights going on. I mean, he does. His method of preaching is not my method of as far as church is concerned, but you know what? It's the message that counts, and I'd rather hear a social justice message than to hear, an intolerant message. I mean, if it can't be a social justice message, and it has to be a message, I take an indifferent message. But I can't take a reactionary message, and that's just not who I am. Mm-hmm. But anyway, interestingly enough, I'm just I'm thinking about forming a small organization here. Yeah, I am. I am. Um, and just to say, and actually, I found out there's some progressives in there, Dwight. There are some progressive in some of these breakaway Anglican groupings. Um, and there's a priest in Chapel Hill. He's a socialist. He's an Anglican Catholic socialist. Hmm. So he's friends with Greg Blivens. They get along. He's friends with Greg Blivens, and he's friends with what's his name? He's from Minnesota. I can't think of that guy's name. The Orthodox guy. What is his name? I can tell you real quick. I think it's Lance Goldberry or something like that. Lawrence Goldberry. I can't believe I don't know his name. He's a real good guy. You're friends with him on Facebook, Dwight. Oh, let's see. Oh, why? Oh, wrong password. You would like my top secret password, Dwight. Let's see. What's his name? Lance Goldberry. That's his name. That is his name. Yeah. I like Lance. I mean, some of the stuff he talks about and everything. Um, but anyway, wow, I'm feeling really good right now. I'm feeling very buzzed. Mm, I like that. I like that a lot. Um, but so how do y'all think? What do you guys think? You think that Joe Biden's going to win? Because I'm gonna tell you, I think that Joe Biden's going to win, and I mean, I'm not going to bet my life on it, but I do think that Joe Biden will win, and I think that it's a good investment to vote for the Green Party because if we can get 5% of the national vote totals, we get federal matching funds, and so you see, so I mean, if Biden wins and there's a nice um, voter turnout for Howie Hawkins, if that happens, he can get 5%. I'm not. I know he wouldn't, but I'm just saying you got to try. The fact that yeah, Deanna Trumpism would be great. Um, and even though Joe Biden is not going to do jack shit, and neither will Kamala Harris, um, we will have a voice with the Green Party, and the Green Party can actually kind of occupy the same spot on the political spectrum in the United States that the New Democratic Party of Canada occupies in Canada. And wouldn't that be nice? I mean, they're the only ones that can do it. Well, the Green Party's on the ballot completely in North Carolina, but there's really no candidates other than Howie Hawkins. It's just Howie Hawkins on the ballot line. I do not know why there's no candidate running for governor, senator, or Congress, or some of the smaller offices. I don't know why. Don't know why, and I hope that the Green Party can remain on the North Carolina ballot because I myself would like to run for an office sometime in the near future as a Green. I would. Oh, my Bernie Sanders button is slipping on the side. That's not good. I wear this button in defiance of what the Democrats did to to Bernie. Yeah, see, yeah, Green, yeah, do it, Daryl. He needs Howie Hawkins needs all the votes he can get to make the Green Party relevant in the American political landscape. Yeah, and Dwight, have you noticed that the Socialist Party seemed to be totally aligned behind the Greens now? I wonder where Greg Payson is on this, because I know how Greg Payson felt about the Green Party when we were in the SPUSA. Could it be that Greg Payson capitulated and he became a Green? Because if that's the case, it seems like the Green Party sort of doing to the American political spectrum in 2020 what the Progressive Party of Robert La Follette did in 1924, in the sense that the Socialist Party USA was the basic infrastructure of the Progressive Party. Not that the SPUSA is that large, but it seems like the SPUSA got a lot of influence in the Green Party in the year 2020. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's something I noticed. And that was about a decade ago, I guess. I mean, the SPSA couldn't even be bothered to support the Green Party because they wanted to be pure at that time. and I think that maybe some of those people have kind of withered away from the SPUSA. I almost want to rejoin it, but you know, I told my friend in Greensboro, Thomas Hefner, that if I rejoined the Socialist Party USA, um, I just not going to join nationally. I mean, like I would join the party nationally, but I'm not going to be involved nationally. Yeah, and, um, that could be the case. Yeah, I'm wondering myself, Dwight, because you know, if Greg is running, is he running as a Green Party person? Of course, Greg has kind of. I like Greg even to this day. He's made me mad a few times over the years, but I have no ill will toward Greg. But Greg, yeah, Greg has an opportunistic side to him too, and I think that I think if push comes to shove, and situations being what it is, it's just I think that he would. I think that he could run as a Green somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I'm in no political party per se right now, as other than being a registered Green. Although, although I would love to get an Social Democratic Party or Social Democratic and Labor Party set up in North Carolina. I wonder. I'm trying to decide whether to call it the Social Democratic Party of North Carolina, the Social Democratic and Labor Party of North Carolina, or the Independent Labor Party of North Carolina. I'm just trying to find out what I like to call it. And John Marhol in Durham seems very interested in this, but it's just trying to find the time to do this. I agree, Dwight. Yeah, Greg's been there for a long time. Greg was there when I joined. I guess but um, I know of Ann Rosenhalf because Ken Myers and Tom Hefner talked to me a lot about Ann Rosenhalf, and they seem to have the highest regard for Ann Rosenhalf. As it seemed like Greg Payson had a lot of regard for Ann Rosenhalf too, for what I seem to remember. But just I think that maybe the problem with the SPUSA was they did a big tug of war where their national office was going to be in the 1970s and 80s. So they juggled between Milwaukee, Chicago, and New York. And I think that they would have just been much better off to keep their headquarters in Milwaukee. That's I think that's why the SPUSA went through a lot of sane years before they went insane. I think that Milwaukee influence was part of who they were. And so I mean, just yeah, I just think that's why. And I mean, they're not even part of the SPUSA at this point. So the Socialist Party of Wisconsin is by itself. It's by themselves right now. Hmm. Woo, I'm buzzing. Hmm. Beer number 3. Hey Dwight, remember my friend Patty Adams? She's now um subscribed to my channel. So she says she's gonna have a nice good laugh when she she watched my commentaries. So yeah, I hope that she finds me online right now because I know she'll, as I said, she'll have a good old laugh and everything. She bought me the history of the Socialist Party of America, by the way. She bought me a copy. You remember by Jack Ross. And I'm in page 586, 587. I'm sitting there talking smack about Eric Chester. Yeah, but yeah, you should get the book. I'm telling you, it's a very informative book, and it gives you a lot of detail about the Socialist Party USA. During the yep, I talk a lot of smack about Eric Chester in the book, and the book pretty much mentioned Eric Chester was kind of very disagreeable person. I express no ill will toward Eric Chester today. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I guess because we're not in the same organization, it's a little bit easier. Hmm. Oh, Daryl, you're talking about the video where that silly lady was waving the flag in front of Bernie Sanders? Yeah, do I don't know. I've been trying to contact Eric Chester. I contacted Tina Phillips to see if she doesn't know anything about where Eric Chester or Susan Durasio is at. I don't even know Susan Durasio and Eric Chester is still over. I mean, still together. Of course, I never had a problem with Susan Durasio. I mean, I think that Susan Durasio, I think Susan Durasio would have been more on the social democratic leaning side if Eric Chester was not around. And same thing in Vermont with Mal Herbert. I know Mal Herbert. I don't know if she's still alive, but um, she seems very social democratic in her outlook too. Mm. Yeah, there I saw that. Yeah, I saw that, and it was really sad and everything. I mean, I'm. This is one of those times where I do get disappointed with Bernie Sanders. Um, I think he is trying so hard to be a team player and not to look like he's going to ruin it for Joe Biden the way he thought he ruined it for Hillary Clinton. Because I really do believe Bernie Sanders blames himself for Hillary Clinton losing, and I just, in fact, it pains me to say that, um, considering that 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 he is he's still he's still fighting progressive, but kind of succumbing a little bit to the establishment is very disconcerting, very disconcerting, most disconcerting. But anyway, I just think that we need to keep fighting the good fight the best we can and all that. Funny when I look at this video later on, I'm going to be like, "Oh, I've said all this." Never wanted to. Um, yeah, I think that there. I think Eric is still alive. I think we would have known if Eric Chester passed away. I mean, I know he wasn't healthy and everything. I know he was not exactly in the best physical shape in the world. He was kind of overweight and diabetic and all that. And but I mean, for some reason, I still think he's around. I think he lives in Scotland. Is what I think. Still lives in Scotland. Susan Durasio, I don't know if she moved with him to Scotland or not. I've been trying to find um I've been trying to find I'm trying to find out about her as well. Dwight, I've actually contacted Carrie Fisher a few times and trying to get her to make another copy of the video, Democratic Socialism, Building New Foundations. And, because I don't have my copy anymore. And I'm wondering, I would pay Greg Payson handsomely if there's still a copy at the national office. I should probably contact him. I should probably contact him at this point. But anyway, yeah, just doing what I can. As I said, man, just I don't know. I mean, so Dwight, what do you think the state name should be if I decide to form another party organization? Should I go with the Social Democratic Party of North Carolina, or should I go with the Independent Labor Party of North Carolina? Which do you like better, or should I go with the Social Democratic and Labor Party of North Carolina? It sounds like Catherine Ann McCloskey wants to go with the Social Democratic and Labor Party of Pennsylvania. It's kind of a long name, but it's very comforting. It's a long-winded way of saying, "Hey, I'm a democratic socialist." Let's see here. Well, let's see. It's all good. I am buzzing. I like that. Good. I'm on vacation. Signifier works for me. You think I should just should I call it the Independent Labor Party or the Labor Party? The reason I'm saying that is, um, I just there was a party called the Labor Party in the United States in the 1990s, and I think that people would sort of view it as that. But I like the name Independent Labor Party because there is a political party in the UK called the Independent Labour Party that was outside of the Labour Party that went into the British Labour Party for many years, and then in 1975 they ceased to exist, and they exist now as Labour Left Briefings, a publication. Um, and they kind of sounded like the SPUSA counterpart within the British Labour Party for many decades. In fact, in 1973, they gave a fraternal greeting to the newly found Socialist Party USA in Milwaukee on Memorial Day weekend. Do you know that? That was in the first issue of the Socialist Tribune, which was their magazine at the time. I got a copy of it. Steve Rossignol gave me a copy. I would love to look into the archives that Steve Rossignol has. It would be just, to do that. I hate the fact that the SPUSA's headquarters were burned down in 1975 of a fire because they had a lot of archives going back to the days of, literally going back to the days of Eugene Debs. Ah, Catherine, how are you? Let's see. I spent summers in London and Glasgow. My brother, later sister, found um, but yeah, I still got a bunch of the magazines, Dwight, under Andrew Hammer. Over the years, he was the looking back, the magazine was good, but it was a little empty at times, little hollow. And the Chicago party was just a little more on the sectarian side that it should have been. That's why we in North Carolina were the best people running the magazine. We kept what was good and relevant about Andrew Hammer and kept what was good and relevant about the Chicago Socialist Party running the magazine. We were sort of like a cross between Andrew Hammer and the Chicago Socialist Party era. Oh, Daryl, I so agree. I really do. I really do. I'm just, it's what I'm going to do when I retire. I retire when I'm 62, and I'm going to spend my time union organizing. But when my previous job, which was unionized, UFCW Local 204, they treated me like a redheaded ugly stepchild. I mean, they just did not really treat me with any seriousness. They just wrote me off as a radical. They did the same thing with my Scottish friend Jimmy. What Jimmy had going for him was a Scottish accent. They thought it was cute, the Scottish accent, but they were like, "This guy's crazy." So and I'll miss old Jimmy. Jimmy's up in Maryland now. Good guy. I'm sure he's playing bagpipes somewhere in Baltimore. I agree. Yeah, the DSA magazine was kind of boring. Dwight, have you noticed the DSA is going through what the SPUSA went through at one point? It seems like there's some authoritarian left elements within DSA trying to take it over because there I just hear some DSA people sounding like they belong to Workers' World or the Party for Liberation and Socialism sometimes, and I know that's really not the DSA that I remember and support it. Yeah, I guess that's part of the reason why what's his name, Frank Llewellyn didn't want the party locals to grow, but I still think Frank Llewellyn was wrong. I think that he should have let it grow during his time. I think that the it would still be ideologically more cogent to what it needs to be. let's see, Susan, my both Catherine, I am planning to take a trip possibly in 2022 to Liverpool, England. Me and my friend Patty, she and I have been talking about this and taking a trip because I told her the advantage of flying to Liverpool is that we're close to Scotland, we're close to Wales, and we could take one full day in London. I told her one full day in London is all you need. But definitely here in the UK, you got to go to London at least, one full day. I mean, or you just, I mean, I spend way more time in London than I should have. But you know what? I did visit the Labor Party and the Fabian Society and the Socialist International all in one day while I was there. That was really good. Dwight, I highly recommend it. I mean, of course, me. I mean, I have a love of Britain in my heart. And Catherine, when I say I have a love of Britain, also have an equal love of Ireland too. In fact, the UK, the Union Jack, and the Irish flag stand side by side in my living room. It stands side by side proudly in my living room because I do have Irish ancestry too on my dad's side of the family. So I mean, just and I did love visiting Ireland. It just again, one week was just not enough, and it was kind of a bummer. I was only in Dublin and Galway, although I'm not sorry I was in Dublin and Galway. I mean, I would go back again, but there was just much more to see. But me and Patty, we were just all thumbs about what to do when we got there, and it was just kind of a clusterfuck as trying to make it into Northern Ireland and to make it into Scotland. And so, and then whether we wanted to go down into the Cork region or well, we were just not sure. And and so we were a little bit frustrated. We had a little bit of frustration while we were there, but then we decided let's go make a jab at going to Galway, and I did enjoy Galway. Catherine, I am drinking Guinness. Can you believe that? I totally agree, Catherine. I think that maybe a group of people going there would, well, certainly would bring the price down, and just imagine about a dozen American socialists there, and making our socialist pilgrimage. Dwight, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Manchester is a great place. In fact, I was online the other day. I saw a mural of Ian Curtis from Joy Division. Joy Division were from Manchester, England, and so that was kind of interesting. I kind of like the idea. I was talking to Joey McCoran at one point about a trip to Portugal, April 25th, 2024, for the 50th anniversary of the Carnation Revolution. Can you imagine an American contingent there to celebrate this? I bet you that they will make some kind of headlines. Hmm. I am buzzing good. And cheers to all my friends tonight I'm talking to. Cheers to you all. Mhm. Ah, I have not been buzzed in a while, so this is good. This is good, but I'm going to downgrade to a Michelob Ultra Light in a few minutes because that's all I have. These were my last three Guinness. Catherine, the Guinness in Ireland is so much better than the Guinness here. Way better. Significantly better. I am typing. Give me a second. All right. I'm sorry. There we go. I was just trying to invite somebody online, see if they want to talk to, because this is what this live streaming thing's about. And if I'm off on election night, I'm going to be doing this. Hey Dwight, do you think you'll be doing something like this online when you're on election night? How about you, Catherine? How about yourself, Daryl? I think it'll be really interesting. Um, Daryl, it's really interesting you brought that up about the Berlin Wall coming down. Yeah, I mean, East Germany seemed to during the days of the Cold War, they seemed to be the most efficient communist country in the Eastern Bloc. Apparently, the most prosperous, for what I can tell. And my good friend Dwight actually did a paper on East Germany when he was in high school. Um, but the thing about it is that when the Berlin Wall came down, I was glad the Berlin Wall came down and that the Cold War was going to be over. However, I felt like actually demolishing the physical wall was like erasing history. Um, and I did confess to be having concerns about the two Germanys reuniting. I was silly back then. Yeah. 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 They had the most efficient communist system in the Eastern Bloc. East Germany did. But I tell people when it comes to communism, I'm a Joseph Broz Tito kind of guy. Not a communist, but I do have admiration for Tito. I consider Tito to be. I thought he was a good man, and he was kind of practicing a third camp internationalism of sorts. And it was just sad when he died. Yugoslavia went to crap with the Civil War, which is largely settled, I guess, these days. Yeah, I would like to visit that part of the world. Go into Croatia, Serbia, and places like that. I mean, just to see what it's like. It looks beautiful from the pictures I've seen. I'll be sure to visit any social democratic organization that exists out there. That's me. That's true. Uh huh. Mm. Oh my gosh, I am buzzing good. Then again, I'm on vacation. Got me into some bands there now in Germany. Oh, Germany! Germany's got good music. Kraftwerk. I love Kraftwerk. Um, I love Kraftwerk. I love Alphaville. But there was not a group better from Germany than Exmo Deutschland. And if you never heard of Exmo Deutschland, Dwight, I highly recommend it. Sounds like a cross between Susie and the Banshees, early Susie and the Banshees, and Joy Division. I'm not kidding you when I say that. uh, mm, ah. Listen, I'm going to grab me another beer. When I drown this, I'm going to the refrigerator. I'm going to grab me another beer. And when I come back, it will just be very, very, very briefly. So if you see me leaving this chair, worry not. I'll be back within seconds. Mm, I shall return. I am returning. I am returning. Oh, back to my office. This is like with a green top. This is like a lemon lime. It's like a lime, lemon lime. Damn. Okay. I hope it didn't break off. Did it break off? Can't break off. Ah. This is actually a Michelob Ultra Light that the, the label fell off. Let's see, Dwight. Oh, you were a right wing communist. What's the best you could do? Laughing my ass off. See, on election night, I want to cover the election coverage. The copyright police might shut me down. Yugoslavia was one of the more open systems which allowed pop music to play. It says that's a role in criticism of the system. Let me know on the live stream. Yeah, Catherine, I was thinking I'll be doing a live stream myself, too. But if I do a live stream, you see, beautiful thing is, I have two computers. The computer that I'm talking to, and this thing. I got two laptops right there, and I'm doing this channel, trying to do this channel professionally, and so one day I'm going to have an actual camera, and we'll probably do the little impressive things and all of that, and all of that. Who knows? My program might be so big that I will that the American Social Democracy will be part of the TYT network. Yeah. Funny thing about that, I was listening to Nico House, and he was talking about David Doerr from the Rational National. If y'all are not familiar with the Rational National, it's a Canadian program hosted by David Doerr. Doel. It's kind of like he's trying to like to be Canada's Kyle Kalinske. And Nico House was making fun of his program. He's like, oh, that guy, he wants to be hired by TYT. Yeah. So anyway, just just yeah, it's funny. The whole let's go bash Tulsi Gabbard every chance we can get by corporate Democrats, and some progressives seem to be wanting to do the same thing. And I'm like, they're trying to make Tulsi Gabbard look like Michelle Bachmann or Sarah Palin. It's ridiculous. Where when she's, I'm like, and they treat her crappier than they treat Debbie Wasserman Schultz of Florida. Isn't that crazy? That highly offends me. But that's what it is. That's how it works. Let's see. Yeah, uh, Catherine, David McReynolds. It's funny. David McReynolds. I mean, he was kind of frustrated with me from time to time. I mean, because I was kind of obnoxious back then too. So I take things with a grain of salt today. But just the only thing that really bugs me about Dave is he didn't really give me credit for getting the party started in North Carolina, which is ironic because he was right there in 1997 on the national committee when Greg Payson handed me the charter that was official for the Socialist Party of North Carolina. Uh, Trotskyites. I mean, I've been mad at Trots for years. Trots don't bother me today. I mean, I don't give a shit. I mean, I just, I'm not a trot. I'm not a Leninist. I'm not any of these things. I'm a fucking social democrat. And I do know some good commies out there. They respect my boundaries as far as Leninism, my critique of Leninism is concerned, and I'll tell them I just not into Lenin, just not into Trotsky and all of that. Just not my thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, yep. It's funny, Dwight. I've mentioned this before, and Catherine, you you might find this humorous. Me and Dwight, we would talk about Joey McClellan, and we're like, this guy. When we first started corresponding with him, like this guy would have belonged in the Socialist Party in the 1990s and early 2000s. I mean, he just had everything in his ideological worldview that would have fit the Socialist Party USA. So just it was kind of cool. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to invite Joey on this thing. I know he's got a YouTube page. He's got to have a YouTube page. So, hold on a second here. I wonder what he's going to say when he sees this. Let's see. I am doing a YouTube live stream right now. I will be honored if you join our discussion. It's us socialists talking socialism again over some beers. I am Buzz. 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 I'm spelling it like that. I am, and let me go and do this right here. I'm going to put in the www.youtube.com social democracy well, not com to /. All right, let's see what goes. What goes? There we go. All right. Okay, I'm back, guys. Let's see let's see. I want my dang healthcare. I want everybody to have some dang healthcare. Let's see. All right. Let's see. David was a giant and more than fist. What do you think of Noam Chomsky? What do I think of Noam Chomsky? I like Noam Chomsky. Uh, in fact, I like him way more. The only criticism I have of Noam Chomsky was in the 1970s. He did go through Holocaust denialism, not with the Jews in Germany, but with the people of Cambodia. He denied that Pol Pot killed over 1 million people, and I think it was maybe his judgment was clouded by a knee-jerk anti-imperialism attitude that most leftists suffer from. And the thing about it is, I'm not exactly the most patriotic American in the world, but America's not always constantly the bad guy. But America finds its way to make things a hell of a lot worse than it should be. And so, but I love Noam Chomsky for being pro freedom of speech and everything. And I just noticed one little thing about Noam Chomsky is that he doesn't he's on record of not supporting BDS, and he's critical of the Israeli government. But what I think is that there is still enough socialist Zionism within the when the left actually supported Israel. I think that he still got a little bit of that in the back of his mind. That I think that that's his reason for being critical of BDS. I'm not a fan of BDS myself. I'm a hell of a lot more critical of Israel than I used to be. And I tell people on the left, if you're going to criticize Israel, do it. But don't make it sound like it's Jewish people's fault. I mean, don't make it sound like there's something nefarious about Jewish people that they're all that it sounds like they're being scapegoated. I mean, the only people who are Jews in Israel that needs to be vilified, and it's not because they're Jewish, it's just because they're assholes, is the Likud party. The Likud party. Yes, Dwight, I do remember that. We actually caused a lot of problems with the National Committee. They hated that, and we won, kind of. We forced Eric Chester. We forced Eric Chester to come out with a we forced Eric Chester to come out with a sensible resolution. It was to the left of me and you and Don Buskey, but a little more moderate than Bill Peltz and David McReynolds. We forced Eric Chester. He capitulated. I could have actually, I read the thing. I was like, I could live with that. It is ironic, and but when it came into a national referendum, there was enough folks that thought that our resolution was pretty damn reasonable. Hmm. Most interesting, definitely, definitely most interesting. Right now, so let's see here. All right. Uh, ooh, pardon me, guys. I'm going to type on my other computer here. I'm going to invite some more Facebook people. I want it to be a big old party. Now, YouTube. I am drunk with a lot of socialist rhetoric right now with some good friends. Join in my live stream at this juncture. www.com. Let's see what they got to say about that. Mm-hmm. Ta-da-ta. All right. And I'm going to be also inviting other people, and I am going to be answering. Hold on a second here. I'm sorry. Let's see. David was. What do you think of Noam Chomsky? Remember Israel? All right. Long live the fist and roast tendency, Catherine. I totally, wholeheartedly, 120% agree. 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. Yeah, it was necessary for that fist and roast tendency. I'm surprised that was not mentioned in the book. I'm surprised that was not mentioned in the book because I mean, to actually quote me but not talk about the fist and roast tendency, that I thought that was, hold on a second. Uh, One of my former coworkers said, "Never touch the stuff." You got a sense of humor. I'm just contacting one of my favorite communists online. Any of y'all know Justin Adio? He's actually a good guy. Hold on a second here. I agree, Dwight. Still, we needed to call it the Fist and Rose Caucus, but for what is Well, I mean, it's 15 years ago when all this came out and everything, but I think what needed to be done, we needed to be a wrecking ball. I mean, like a wrecking ball and everything. We really needed. Well, I hate to side with Sean Richmond, but Sean Richmond had the right idea in 1999. Sean Richmond was actually talking about, getting in contact. He thought, and he had in mind to take over Sedusa and to merge it with the SPUSA. He had that in mind. And Robert Tucker was like, he was against this whole idea, and and how Robert Tucker was when he was alive. So anyway, Oh, okay. Hold on. Um, all the best, comrade. I am drunk as hell right now. Don't worry. Don't worry. I am not getting rid of this video. All right. Okay. Let's see. It was a wonderful acronym we ever did. Let's see. Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. I've been up here for 2 hours, and I'm cool with that. I could go on for another couple of hours. I go as long as y'all willing to go to, because I'm having a good old party. Mm, mm. Let me talk to Justin for a second. We are talking lots of socialism. There we go. All right, all right. Let's see who else is online. I'm going to try to invite these people. That's okay. I'm satisfied with who I got here talking. We're going to keep this party going. Hey, John Padmore, how the hell are you? I'm good. Yeah, one of my coworkers here. Um, we worked together for years. Cheers. Yes, John, I'm drunk. Yeah, I'm drunk right now. Do you remember the night we wrote the? I sure as hell did. Okay. Um, uh, some other time. Some other. Talking to one of my friends here. Has to go to work, so tonight. I sure did, Catherine. I sure did, and I remember we forwarded to a couple of people. We forwarded to a handful of people who would be sympathetic, possibly, and then we forwarded out to everybody. Sure. So those were the days. And Catherine, I'm so sorry that I've been lackluster about this SPA project. I mean, I am obsessed with the Socialist Party of America. And me and Dwight talked about this quite a bit over the years, and how we would have fit in the Socialist Party of America for sure in the 50s and 60s in a lot of ways. I mean, just how we would have been in there and everything. I always felt like when I joined the Socialist Party USA, it's like I've always felt a connection, even with the people when I started to meet people in the Socialist Party USA. It's like I met a connection. It's like these are people I've actually felt like I should have known all my life. If I believed in reincarnation or everything, I think I was from the Socialist Party of America in the mid 20th century, and somehow I died, and I in whatever presses came in trapped into my body in 1969, and when I was born, and here I am. If I believed in reincarnation, but so I see the world through the eyes of somebody who would have been in the Socialist Party of America in the mid 20th century. I still, in the year 2020, see myself through the lens of somebody from the Socialist Party USA in the 1990s, from the day I joined. I see, that's how I see the world politically. And just for better or worse, that's just how I do. I mean, I'm just like, I think what would Eugene Debs say about it? What would Norman Thomas or A. Philip Randolph, Frank Zeidler? I mean, that's kind of how I look at things. See, David Hacker went ape shit, including W.E.B. Du Bois thing, because he's now in the South Africa. He's now, and now. Oh, you mean David Hacker loves the South African Communist Party? They're de facto social democrats anyway. They pretty much have a lot of sway within the African National Congress. Um, I think that basically the African National Congress is obviously the party to support in South Africa, knowing that they're not perfect, but South Africa is going through growing pains after after all those years of apartheid. Mm. It's going to be a long while before they they prosper, and they're trying to create a national health system. And Congressman Ron Dellums, did say that they will create a national health care system before the United States will. How profound Ron Dellums was when he said that. Yeah, Catherine, I know of Hal Draper. I know the name Hal Draper. I know that he set up what was called independent socialist clubs in the 1960s, and he was with Yipsel. But I really don't know too much about him otherwise. I mean, I sort of think there might have been a link with Trotskyism, maybe a soft Trotskyism, but I think you probably would know better than I would. But just but he set up, as I know, he set up what was called independent socialist clubs on campuses um, during, I guess, the 1960s. But anyway, cheers to you all. Cheers to you all. Well, I know that when if I'm here on election night doing a live stream, what I will probably be doing is I'll have a bottle of wine, maybe two bottles of wine. I may need to do that, considering you know good news or bad news. I'm going to need a bottle. I'm going to need some wine for the. I'm going to need some alcohol for the election to come. Just I had an election night party back in 2012, and I since I was neither for Obama or for Romney, I kept it bipartisan. So there was a few Democrats and a few Republicans that I invited over that I knew they wouldn't be, you know, too hateful with each other. So I was like, I think it'll be fine to invite them over, and they could do a shot. If the Democrats could do a shot if Obama wins a state, the Republicans could do a shot if they win a state. Since I'm neither for Obama nor Romney, I would do a shot either way because you know I felt like no matter who won in 2012, whoever is the winner, we all lose the election. Just like what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we're fucked either way with Trump or Biden. I mean, the only good thing about Biden winning is maybe if there's a Supreme Court seat available, he'll put some quasi liberal judges in the court. He'll get us back into that peace deal with uh, with um, with with Iran. The one really good thing Obama did. mm, No, John, I'm not voting for Trump. Why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep saying that I'm not voting for Trump? I'll never vote for Donald Trump. I mean, the only good thing you're going to hear me say about Donald Trump is that he's not Mike Pence. That's about it. Now I have I mean, let's see. Oh, friend request. Oh, okay. I'm friends with Daryl Hinton already. Daryl's a good guy. I met Daryl in Undeterred Soapbox Alphas on Facebook, and just that is the worst Facebook political discussion group on planet Earth right now. I can't think of what Kyle Kalinske called movement conservatives. Those motherfuckers on Undeterred Soapbox Alphas. These are Bush Cheney era Republicans that somehow love Donald Trump. I mean, they're just the worst people you can imagine, obnoxious to the core. I mean, they're like alt lighters who are still neocons, the worst people around. Mm, terrible, terrible people. The channel you're talking about, the Facebook group. undeterred soapbox alphas, Dwight. If that's what you're referring to. You and I were on that group years ago. I got kicked out. And then I came back in under another Facebook name, and then they kicked me and Daryl out. Sure did. He sure did. Uh, let's see here. I am inviting people over. I want to keep this party going. I got 6 people in here. I want all 6 of y'all to identify yourselves. I mean, a couple of y'all are talking already, but I want all of y'all to identify yourselves. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. I am inviting other folks. All right. Anybody who's online right now. I'm scrolling down to invite people online. Let's see. Hold on here. Hold on. Hold tight. Hold tight. Hold tight. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna invite this person online. Ta da ta. Okay, I'm back. Let's see here. Oh, no, Dwight. The old left and right. I still am involved with the old left and right. Still moderate that group. It went through. Let's see. What is that, Catherine? Because I can use it because I wouldn't mind. I could use some more hair. I mean, I'm not bald. Actually, I got more hair now than I did in years. Um, the finasteride works. The Rogaine works. I tell anybody do that. I'm too vain to lose my hair. I would just die if I lose my hair. Not saying anything bad about people who are bald. It's just I just got a funny looking shape head. It'll just not look good on me. I'm already unattractive as it is. I just don't need anything else. Other people can get away with it. I just can't. I just can't. So anyway, I'm looking through here. John, what about James Bond? Actually, I actually invited him online. So yep, I did. I invited him online. Well, hey Dwight, this is probably the first time you see me drunk in person via film YouTube since 2002. Yeah, I was really drunk at that party at Jim Schaefer's house. Bunch of socialists out there. Oh, that was a weird weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, I did, John. I sure did. Let's see. Join this via 1990. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there will be a sense of normalcy restored with Joe Biden. I mean, I will be celebrating if Biden wins because he's not Donald Trump. But I just, as I said, I mean, there are some things I just cannot. I just, as I said, I know Biden's going to win. I know he's going to win. When it was dicey, I was going to go vote for Joe Biden, but I think that he's going to win because Donald Trump is a dumbass. I mean, I don't like to wear a mask any more than anybody else. I mean, yeah, when I do wear a mask, I do one of these, because I mean, I hate wearing the kind that it snaps in the ear. It's uncomfortable. Hmm. Yeah. What are you talking about, John? I do every day. Oh yeah, because I had a couple of drinks. I understand. Yeah, Daryl, Dwight's a good guy. Daryl is a good guy. You're gonna enjoy each other's political posts. I'm glad to know of this. You both are good people. Think highly of you both. Just you'll like each other's posts. I promise. Hmm. Oh, let me see what Joey's got to say on Facebook. Hold on a second. Yeah, moving all this out of the way. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Joey said he might jump in this conversation here. So just it's all good, folks. Cheers to all of y'all, comrades, friends, all the like. You know, just it's 2020, and if I were to tell you back in the year 2000 that socialism would be casual conversations, today in polite company, I would have not believed it. You know, and that's all right, and that's good. Um, you know, we're all comrades these days, and it's like we reached the level of social democracy as far as having a footprint in our society. But we just don't have the goodies that they have, the free medical and the free college and all of that, and the mass public transit and a welfare state that's actually a real welfare state. A non-tattered safety net, a safety net that's for real. We haven't reached that yet. I mean, and I think it's going to be 2040 before we do. Yeah, being Gen X and socialists were like a unicorn. Glad to see the national shift in policies in the 80s and 80s. As awful as that. Yeah, absolutely, Dwight. Here. I absolutely agree. Absolutely. Because, just, oh my God. Yes, Daryl, please do so. I have no animosity toward Michael Hunt. I really don't. I don't know why he hates me so much, but no, by all means, do invite him up there. Invite, just when he sees all of the socialists having good vibes and all that, he's gonna realize we're all good people. You know, it's all good. Yeah, but anyway, it's all good. I love being drunk. I really do. Mm. It's funny when I was having these first couple of bottles of beer, I was kind of like, you know, you know, whatever. I would think it was like the third bottle I started to feel the buzz. But I'm glad we're having this conversation, folks. Let's see. In Denmark, they're lowering the retirement age to 61. We need that kind of discussion. Well, I'm 51, and when I'm 62, I'm going to take my partial Social Security. I'm going to go and do that partial Social Security. I get a lecture from my dad on the phone all the time. It's like, son, you should wait till you're 67. Nothing doing. I'm going to retire, and I'm going to retire at the age of 62. Get my union pension at the age of 62, and enjoy life. Catherine, you're going to love what I'm about to say. I think that what I'm planning to do to keep myself active is to do union organizing. Do what I can, whatever I can do, whatever they need me for, I'll be glad to assist as far as union organizing. That's what I want to do. Um, Tommy Ducks, AJ Musty, or Norman Tom. Absolutely, Catherine. That's why I'm encouraging Dwight Bush to do a YouTube page. Honestly, I mean, I think that Dwight could push. I think Dwight could draw way more people than my modest 142 subscribers. And I just think he could, and and I think he should be encouraged to do so. So yeah, John, it is, and I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to retiring. Uh, CPUSA communists. Yeah, you know, yeah. There's a yeah, let's see. I don't. myself in front of a camera. I don't really either, but yet that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in front of a camera. I mean, I'm in front of a laptop camera. But mm, I have the air condition on. I know it's October, but I am freezing. But you know what? I'm gonna wait a little while before I turn it off. It'll be good. Hmm. Let's see. What does it say here? All right. Mm. I guess when I grab another beer in the refrigerator, just like one more, I don't know if I'm going to go and drink wine because I don't like to mix my liquor. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, I did it the wrong way. That's why. Uh, oh gosh. There we go. Ah, cheers to you all. Cheers to you all. Do they do not pasteurize? Yes, Catherine. The Guinness is way better in Ireland. Way better. Honestly, no bitter aftertaste or anything. I mean, I think I probably, on the average, I probably drank about 3 or 4 Guinnesses a day while I was in Ireland, and I drank some whiskey. And it's like every pub I walked into, it was built 1667, 1581, 1720. I mean, it was just kind of like that, and it was like I'm just like, this is really awesome. Mm. And gosh, I did love talking to the locals. So say, you don't know how lucky you are here in Ireland. You have that free medical care. So it's not as good as the NHS. Honestly, it's not as socialistic as the NHS. And the way it's structured, it's not even quite as good as the Canadian system, but it's a little bit better than Obamacare. It's sort of like a cross between Obamacare and what they do in Canada. That's the best way to describe the Irish system of healthcare. Uh, Apparently, they got too much private insurance covering this and that in the system, but um, there's a basic healthcare you can get that's paid through public tax dollars. Um, don't quite like that system, but it is better than what they would have here, I guess. Mm. But no, the NHS is the way to go. The British, they did it right. They had the right idea when it came to healthcare. Um, United States, once they decided to do it, they adopted a right wing healthcare plan. They decided to copy the Heritage Foundation. And I remember a decade ago warning progressives, like, my God, don't don't embrace anything that the Heritage Foundation would embrace. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with y'all progressives? Because this is going to come in, and no further healthcare reform will take place. Let's see. After the March of Jobs. No, I haven't. But I saw a video on Baird Rustin the other day, Catherine. Most interesting. Got a renewed interest in Baird Rustin again. Hmm. Hey, I am going to step away for about 10 seconds. I got to turn off the air. I'm freezing. I will be right back. I will return in just a moment. Anita, Anita. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. You know what gave me this idea about this live streaming thing right there? Just a casual conversationing. is that I seen the Amazing Atheist do it online, and it's kind of funny how he does it. And so I was just like, start doing this. So I started seeing other people do it. I was like, I'm on vacation. There's no reason why I can't do this. So this is like one of my longest videos. I'm like, I've been out here about 2 hours and 25 minutes. I'm really, really glad that y'all are here with me tonight. Just I love each and every one of y'all, and we'll keep this going and keep the conversation and the good times going. Doesn't that sound groovy? I think so. But anyway, let's see here. What do we got? Let's see. I follow some old CPUSA folks. Um, it's funny. CCDS. Dwight, I was in Greenville, North Carolina today, and I passed by Zach Robinson's house. I should have dropped by to say hello. Zach Robinson was one of the founders of Committees of Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism. I met his father, Stuart Robertson, back in 1999, and just I mean, I guess he's not here anymore. I mean, I know he's significantly older, but real nice guy. Oh, so was Zach Robertson. If y'all ever meet him, in fact, let me see if I can find Zach Robertson. I had him on my old MySpace. I mean, not MySpace. Um, old previous Facebook posts. Not posts. Oh, let's see. I think that's him. Yes, yes, yes. I am going to put in a Facebook request for Zach Robertson. Okay. Hey, I miss old Zach. We used to hang out quite a bit. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see. Happy birthday, Jim. I absolutely ran into him in a protest at School of the Americans protest. Another essay. Barbara's Poor People's Campaign doing good things. Yeah, absolutely. Mm. Mm. Absolutely. But yeah, it's amazing. Over there, CCDS, one of the founders of CCDS, is a math professor at East Carolina University, Zach Robinson. And as I said, it's been quite a while since I've seen Zach, but I've just put in a request on Facebook, so I should be getting. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be responding at some point. Mutual friends. David McReynolds. Absolutely. Leslie Kagan. I remember her. She wouldn't remember me. Let's see. Looking through here. Let's see. Let's see. I thought that was Angela Davis. That was Angela Davis. I would have put in a request for her. I almost met Angela Davis in 1999 at the Committees of Correspondence convention in Raleigh, North Carolina. But she was on a flight to come back down to Raleigh, and she had a delay, so we weren't able to meet Angela Davis. That would have been interesting meeting Angela Davis. I would have been okay with that. Yep, been okay with that. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. Um, hey, Dwight. Oh gosh, well, I was going to say something and I forgot what I was going to tell you. Oh, that's okay. It will come back to me later. Let's see here. Yeah, Lance Goldberry is a good guy. I wonder if he's online right now. I can find out. Is he online? No, he's not online. But Just in case if he gets this message, I'm going to go and ask him to go online. There we go. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's see. Let's see. Uh, all right. All right. I'm going to invite Chris Elko. He's interesting. He's always interesting. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, all right. Who else can I invite on up here? All right. Uh, um. Let's see. I'm going to invite Michael Curcio. If you don't know who Michael Curcio is, he's a good guy. I enjoy listening to his politics sometimes. He likes to trolling people online. Mm. Let's see. Who else can I invite online? Let's see. That's enough for the requests right now. So there we go. Let's see here. Let's see. Uh, anyway, that's funny. Okay. All right. Let's see. I know who's going to lose. Who's going to lose, Catherine? Who's going to lose? Mm. Uh, uh, who's going to lose the election? Is it an election to lose? Who specifically we're referring to? I don't know. I know I'm drunk as shit right now. I'm shit faced drunk. I wish I had my bottle of Roscato because I'd be passed out right now with my bottle of Roscato. That is what I'm going to have on election night. I'm going to have some Italian food because that's my favorite in the world. I'm going to have some Roscato. Willie, what do you think of Dennis Kucinich? I met him once. Daryl, I was a big fan of Dennis Kucinich. I supported Dennis Kucinich in 2008 in the primaries. Was very bummed when he left out early. Um, it was nice seeing him back again this past year. And just like all the people who want to sit there and talk about how right wing Tulsi Gabbard is, if he was as right wing as they claim, why the hell is Dennis Kucinich supporting Tulsi Gabbard? I voted for. Yeah, I was trying to, but it didn't. It didn't happen, Dwight. So I was just like, it was really weird in 2004. I mean, I supported. I mean, like Walt Brown was like the most perfect Socialist Party USA presidential candidate that we had. However, um, however, it was kind of like Dennis Kucinich. We should have put our support behind Dennis Kucinich, but at the same time, as much as I didn't like John Kerry, George W. Bush needed to go. Just I still look at George W. Bush as the worst. I mean, George W. Bush is the reason why we have freaking Trump today. That's really what it comes down to. And just like and what I'm worried about, if Biden wins and he doesn't deliver, we could have another worse Trump in our hands. That could be someone like Tom Cotton of Arkansas. And Tom Cotton is horrible, horrible. I would say Tom Cotton. Tom Cotton is terrible. Let's see here. What is they? SP. They sure did, Catherine. What's going to happen? I would like to know what about Greg Payson. I'm curious about the situation with Greg Payson. Greg Payson being I mean, I think it'd be funny if I found out Greg Payson is a Green Party candidate somewhere. You know, absolutely. Ooh, I'm burping. I went out to Greenville this afternoon. Just it was interesting being in Greenville, Gville, that is. Yep. Uh, just looking through here, very much so. Interesting, most interesting. Nine for okay. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. SPUSA. Let's see. $50 a month. SDLP was the Nordic Party. Yes, correct. That is correct. Weren't they called the Social Democratic Workers' Party of Russia? I thought that was the name in Russia. Seems like that was their name. I don't know. Let's see. The SDOP was both in both Nordic countries. Yeah, I always just called them in the Nordic countries, like Sweden. I heard was the Social Democrats, but I've heard they're also called the Social Democratic and Labor Party. So I don't know. I know in Denmark they're called the Social Democrats. They're called Labor. In Norwegian abbreviation is DNA, I believe. Yeah, Dwight would know, right, Dwight? Uh, let's see, Social Democrats in Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. That's right. Labor in Norway. Social Democratic Alliance in Iceland. And a name that's way too hard to pronounce in Greenland. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Dwight, you'd be interested to notice that in the book, Socialist Party of America, um, that yeah, by Jack Ross, that in 1977, the new Democratic Party gave fraternal greetings to the Socialist Party USA. Interesting, but they couldn't do that in the year 2003. And I think Greg Payson was giving me a lot of crap about it, and I'm thinking, maybe they know something that you're doing, Greg, and that the party's doing. They know about its sectarian posture, and maybe they don't feel compelled to go and give greetings. That's why I'm coming in to try to rectify that. But I didn't actually say that to Greg, but that's really what I wanted to tell him. Give him a good little what for. Mm, let's see. Be so total random interjection. Made a great. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I got the greetings from the Socialist Caucus in the new from the New Democratic Party, um, and I told them I will pay for their greetings if they just okay it. And they were like okay. So when NC ran, we rocked when we ran the thing. We rocked the Socialist Party of North Carolina. We knew what we were doing. Really, honestly, Jim Schaefer did most of the work. Um, Ken Myers was in Egypt. I mean, he did his editorial stuff. He did for real, but it was as far as the layout was concerned. I mean, in a way, it was really Jim Schaefer doing most of the work, and I was really happy with what the work he produced. I mean, Dwight, when I saw the little rose on the cover, I swear I had nothing to do with this, but I'm sure that all the naysayers, they're like, yeah, look, that Rose over there in the corner, that Melvin, he's got to be involved with that. He's got to be involved with that. Nope, nope. Not guilty as charged. Not this time, but apparently people thought I have more power than I actually have. Can you believe that? With Dwight, it was actually a very nice magazine when it was being done. Very nice. Pretty damn awesome magazine, in fact. Wonderful magazine. Uh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, good Lord. Uh, reunion time. Ta 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 ta. La di da, la di da, la di da. I am drunk. Let's see. Mary Alice is still alive. I'm glad she's still alive. I was okay with Mal Herbert. Now, Vernon and Catherine were pissed with her. I'm like, look, she's from Vermont. She can't help the company she keeps. She sure as hell didn't want to make all this trouble since she was the VP candidate. Oh, Mary, yes. So, Catherine, I'm guessing that Eric and Susan are still together, huh? Hmm. If they are, I'm glad to hear. Whew. I'm going to sleep really good right now. Listen, all y'all, I'm going to sign off because I'm drunk as shit. And I will talk to y'all later. I will be doing this again probably on election night if I'm off on election night. I'm drunk and I'm going to sleep good. Y'all have a good night. Until next time, peace and Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024. And urge people to subscribe to this channel. Keep it going.